What's happening, people? Welcome back to another episode of Off the Top. We're literally going off the top and sharing my views of the game against Manly at Four Pines Park last Friday night. And again, another unfortunate and disappointing loss. I think it was 24-10 in the end, if I believe so. Look, guys, firstly, just hit that like and subscribe. We appreciate you. And if you want to become a member of Wires Up TV, heaps of benefits and perks, obviously live streams. You can get your comments prioritized. We will be having member live stream shows as well, so jump on stream if you want to share your thoughts. That's also cool for us as well. But yeah, press the join button, but otherwise like and subscribe to this video. Thank you very much. Just, yeah, quickly on this game, another kind of frustrating game, and I'll just quickly go back to the storyline or the story arc of this season has very similar stories to them in each game. The scoreline may be different, but it's kind of the same plot. Again, I go back to efficiency in the red zone, goal line attack. We just do not seem to be able to be clinical enough when we have so much possession and ball to get over the line. And then likewise defensively, interesting stat was that we teams score on us in a goal line attacking set almost one try in every 8 tackles. So we can't even defend almost one set and 2 tackles. We can't defend until, and that's the max we can defend before we let people score a try. It goes to show you the vulnerability of how we're playing, but also that when you marry the two together, the inability to execute on the offensive side, and then the complete lack of, I suppose, cohesion, communication, effort, attitude to defend our goal line on the other side, it's just a recipe for disaster. But that's what I'm saying, that's been the plot or the storyline for this year, and will have to be the areas that Webby has to address in the off-season to determine how we're going to move forward. But I think, it was great to see the likes of Luke Metcalf. He looked really sharp. His movements were really good. Nice footwork, his speed. Sometimes I actually think we might need someone a bit quicker on his outside, a faster centre to kind of help him. There were times where I saw Luke was right up on the line, but Pompey was almost 2 or 3 meters away. I think it's just maybe it's either a timing thing or we need to get some guys that are a little bit quicker to match the speed of a Luke Metcalf. But I thought he played a pretty solid game, and a lot of defensive work. Olokwatu, they were targeting him. He did his best to hold on and majority of the time stay in the tackle and complete the tackle. But I thought he played a pretty solid game. SJ, probably one of his worst games this year at least. Although, had a really good high kicking game. Those bombs were sitting nice and high and fell on the 10-meter line. And we were good at times to be able to defend that. We had some really solid defense. But then sometimes just his lack of execution, fifth tackle options, things where he's, the pass at the end of the game when it went to no one, or the pass to Capewell was at his feet. Little things like that just shows that this hasn't been the year for him, and just the lack of detail to be able to come into a game and do those things, especially when we had so much good ball and we just needed to get over the line to put some scoreboard pressure on. Some of his errors were really, really costly. Defensively, getting called out where Talau goes through and Travoy scores. So there were just a few lapses across the park where it's either he's mentally checked out or he's just not up to it. And I'm hoping for his sake he has a great game against the Bulldogs, which will be a tough opponent. We'll get into that later on in the week, but it's not looking good. So I thought the halves, they didn't, when we had the moments, they didn't ice or execute the game enough. I thought those try to Dallin was great to see that right side open up again. The other try where AFB offloaded to SJ I thought was brilliant as well, but just not near enough of what we needed to get over the line. Now I think maybe another extra week with Metcalf and Sean, the attack might look even better next week. We just don't know, but it definitely was costly in terms of the game. Now defensively, we just again seem to, like I mentioned, we leak points, and I got to give credit to Manly. They attacked us right from the outset. They even on a defensive set where they really pinned back on their goal line, they were shifting it wide. They knew that they could get to us, and move our forwards around. I think there's got to be some real work done around how do we get the best mobile forward pack for next season. Webby's system, if you look at it, requires a lot of people to, especially that frontline forward pack, those 6 guys need to be flexible to fill in a lot of positions. So, for example, AFB was almost involved. There's one set where they had a line break. AFB was involved in 4 tackles and was being moved around across the park to cover the space, and eventually led to a line break. But my thinking behind it is, hopefully next year with the JFH and some, I suppose, even guys need to be trimmer and sharper next year to deal with the speed and the flexibility to backfill in Webby's system. The forwards have to be flexible and cover a lot of positions and ground. If we're going to play like that, we need guys that are mobile and fit all year round, and have the line speed and leg speed to cover and close space off and be technically savvy in terms of tackling technique, all of those things, which I think is just an area that's kind of let us down this year. So I'd be interested to come up against the Bulldogs, a team that's just been like, no one really is a standout, prop or player. I mean, you got Kiko on there, but in terms of their middle forwards, they work hard, defend well, and then they push up in line speed to help their outsides. It's a well-drilled system, and I suppose we are based on the similar principles, but it's in no way near the same effect. So something to really think about. But yeah, credit to Manly, they executed, they attacked from every position. They did well with Luke Brooks to kick out of their own end at times when we really pinned them down. And then just their execution, they nailed the big moments when we didn't. I think, of example, there was a cross kick to Dallin, couldn't quite catch it, couldn't get over the line. And then on the opposite end, it was DCE kicking for their winger, and he got the ball and scored. Then Sean goes for a 40-20, misses out. Then DCE goes for a 40-20 and nails it. So there's it was 2 teams that one's just struggling and the other team is executing. And I think there was those moments where they executed a lot better than us and deservedly won. So yeah, there's that storyline. I thought guys like, I thought Pompey had an overall good game. I thought in moments Capewell was good as well. RTS had good moments, but then again made some costly errors. I suppose our wingers got caught out and probably either jammed at the wrong time or sat back a bit, and I think our edges got a bit exposed. I know Pompey, for as good as he is, he's always getting caught on that back rower lead line, and it's out the back to a speedy fullback or centre, and Pompey just can't seem to keep up with that shape to turn the shoulder and then to shoot out to the outside. And Montoya, I suppose, trying his best to hold for Pompey, but at times is difficult. So there's a lot of just things happening across the park. I thought Dimitri came on, had a good little shift. I suppose the disappointing thing for our boys was that we got a lot of head highs and crushes, and it just was really disjointed in terms of the flow of our game. And then the drop balls, Pompey dropped one, Metcalf dropped one, just all stemmed the flow of momentum, and the momentum quickly shifted back to Manly, and they were able to capitalise. So again, I go back to that story arc. It's the same kind of story arc every season, not every season, this year. And some things need to be addressed in the off season. So I want to just quickly get into that. Is that, from my understanding, and let me know if I'm wrong, but I feel that Webby is a coach that believes in his system and kind of trusts in his system to deliver come rain, hail or shine. So I don't think he's technically an adapting coach. I think he's a coach that kind of believes in what he does, puts in the system, and the players then execute it. And if they execute it to perfection, then that should produce the results. And that's what it felt like last year, is that we're executing the attack to the nth degree of perfection, to its peak, and we reap the results. Now, I think teams have adapted. I think 2024 is a much better competition in terms of overall defense, attack for a lot of teams. Like I said, Serraldo's improved. Hasler's taken Titans, at least against us, to another level. The Dragons have improved under Flanagan. So every team that we were easy beats last year, including the Eels, have found a way to win us. To beat us. So that kind of shows you that the competition has improved, while at the same time, what we implemented in 2023 technically hasn't worked. So it does require a bit of adaptability. I think there was Webby lucked into, in my opinion, the period with Tamaiti and with Tuopiki, I think it was C&K at 5'8". It actually worked because it was so different to what we'd been doing before that point in the season, and it kind of gave a contrast to, I suppose, the style that we came into the season with. Now, what I found is that style we either kind of reverted back a little bit to more of a structured attack and system, and it felt that we're falling back into kind of similar habits at times, where we aren't able to get the points that we need or execute to a high level. So it comes back to the philosophy of the coach, was that I think Webby still fundamentally believes that this kind of risk-adverse attack or structure that we play with, very little offloads, very little, I suppose, it's moving parts at the right time. He believes in that, and my only thought is that when you were so injury deprived and I suppose had a different playing group, how could you have adapted that better? Now I think Tamaiti, maybe they did adapt it for him, and it just worked. It just and you can dispute that, but it worked at that time for what it was, and whether he lucked into that or it was they tactically changed, those things seem to work effectively. Now, I think coming back to SJ and Metcalf, you can sort of see that the attack was moving a little bit better, but again, I feel that defenses have picked up onto those things, and it feels like it's mundane or predictable again. So my thinking is, how does Webby, I suppose, moving forward, if he's going to stick with my system works, and I'm going to stick by it, rain, hail, or shine, then he needs the players to be able to execute that system. Sean has dropped off. Tohu is injured and nearing his end. Doesn't quite have the forward pack that's mobile enough, in my opinion, to implement his defensive strategy. And then attack is probably lacking speed to execute the detail around his attacking shape. So we need to get players, if he's going to commit to that, or if he's not going to adapt to, I think, a league that's moving on into a really speed type game. You're getting outside backs that you need speed to execute. You're looking at the smaller fullbacks of 2024. There's things that he needs to be able to either adapt or move forward to stay up to pace with the NRL, or he needs the best possible players that can play his system. So for me, it depends on if he's going to stick to that, then we need to get the best players to do that, because it showed you when it's executed to perfection that it can really work. But at the same time, the league has adapted a little bit, so you might want to look at adapting your system or that type of thing to kind of stay up with the rest of the comp. So something to really think about in the off season for Webby. It's something that as fans, we're kind of going into a new era. Some could argue it's not a rebuild. Either way, it's got new faces, new people at the helm. We will have a new 7 or 6, whoever's it. You can dispute whoever it's going to be. AFB will not be there, so that will change to a JFH. The younger guys will have to fill in as there's an aging roster. So whether or not Tohu's still there on paper, who's to know that he'll play 24 games? That's probably highly unlikely. Same with the Walkers, the Kate Wells, the Barnetts getting on a little bit. So those will be things that you will see a lot of the younger players come through, and it will kind of shine a light on, I suppose, the development programs and how effective they've been and how effective they will be. So it kind of is going into a new mirror, a rebuild, or whatever you want to call it. It'll be a post-SJ era, at least. That era will be closed off post AFB era. Now it's moving into more of Webster's, like players that he's actually recruited, players that have come through development under Cappy and the system that they're bought into. So you're going to see everything that they've been working for over the last two years, where Webby's managed players. He's picked the Cape Wells, he's picked the forwards, he's picked these guys before picking the Dimitriks and the Halasimas, because he doesn't want to bring those guys in right now, doesn't think they're ready in his eyes. Now you're going to see more of that development program come through. So it's going to be an interesting time as a fan. I think people are excited for, the young guys, and will reflect on how well the system has been working in the last 2 years. I mean, this is great for our boys. I mean, it's going to get better by year 3, 4, 5, but we're after year 2 now of having a full program. We should be able to see the fruits and benefits of that system coming through now. But again, for me, it's still be smart in recruitment. If there's a guy that you think can really take us to another level, go and get him. But the likes of a Kate Wells signing, even an RTS signing, for me, they haven't lived up to what I expect. So you have to be smart in terms of, it just can't be a guy that wants to come and get a contract. If you can be intentional and recruit and find someone that, hey, this is a change of pace player, this is a player that can bring something to our club. I think, like, for example, Ford initially in his first year, and probably not his best year this year, but that was an unknown signing, but a smart signing. It made sense, and it took the team to another level in 2023. If you can find something like that, unearth a talent, an Aussie talent, that kind of fits the mold or can take our game to another level, go out and get it. If you can't, and imagine for us in particular as Warriors fans, that market is usually dry, then just stick with what we got, develop the young guys, bring them through, but be very smart in recruitment. Like, I thought that first window 2023 was really good. This window here hasn't been the greatest. So if I need to see more from Cappy and the like, that if they're going to commit to buying someone, that next person that comes in, if it's an Aussie recruit, has to make sense for me. Has to be someone that can take it to the next level, or really secure or solidify a position on the field that we feel as fans, or that the club feel is like we're quite weak in. So those are some of the things I'd be interested to see how they moving forward. There's a lot of work. I know we're already talking off seasons, still 2 more games to go, but we're all aware that our season is over. Want to see still some of the young guys come through against play the Bulldogs, see their development, but you got to start to look ahead now, and prepare for the future. But anyway, guys, that's my review. I suppose more of a season review, really, but hopefully you got a little bit out of that. Please hit us with a like and subscribe, and join if you want to be a member. We're happy to have you on the Wires Up TV family. But take care, guys. Stay safe. Up the wires as always. Peace. We'll catch you on the flip.